Pause. Look again. That flutter you feel? It's not the wind in the plane trees. It's Celine learning to breathe. Today on GTWJ, we're walking into Michael Ryder's Spring 2026 for Celine, a collection that loosens the collar without losing the cut, where Parisian rigor dissolves into glide. If you're new here, welcome to Girl Talk with Ju. Follow us on Instagram at GTWJMag for all the close-ups and context we can't fit into one video. Celine has always been the thinking woman's wardrobe, pragmatic, precise, and deceptively quiet. Ryder keeps that intelligence and changes the tempo. The runway reads like a promenade, daylight, movement, the shuffle of real life, so the clothes answer with motion. Tailoring is still the spine, but the muscles around it are softer. Shawl collars that behave like scarves, peplum hems that unfurl, skirts and trousers that hold air, not stiffness. Structure meets slipstream. Silhouette first. You see an elegant physics at play. Shoulders are built, yes, but not aggressive. The mass is distributed downward into buoyant volumes. Bubble-rounded skirts, lanterny culottes, fluted peplums, swing coats that travel around the body rather than pinning it down. It's Celine geometry translated into aerodynamics. Where a traditional blazer would end in a hard edge, Ryder lands it on a curve. The effect is civilized ease. The outfit finishes itself as it moves. Then the carré logic, the house's scarf intelligence, migrates into construction. Silk squares aren't just accessories, they're pattern pieces. Draped diagonally as bodices, threaded through lapels, wrapped like sashes, their bias lines become architecture. Notice how the scarf grammar lets color talk. Navy framing optic white, lacquer red and ultramarines slicing through black like stained glass light. The palette is disciplined, ink, ivory, camel, midnight, punctured by snack bright accents, lemon skirt, poppy sequin microdress, amethyst sparkle. It's restraint with a permission slip. Leather is a thesis, not a shout. Jackets hold a gentle air dome at the shoulder and then cinch into the waist. A tan blouson is petaled with small ruffle appliques, ornament as topography, not frill. A black trapeze tunic in supple hide hangs like a bell, monastic from the front, metropolitan in motion. This is luxury that remembers hands. You read the making in each seam and the quiet confidence in each finish. Ryder's tailoring vocabulary stays fluent in Celine's codes, but edits the accent. Sharp lapels, double-breasted jackets, and long lines are all present, yet pockets migrate, button stances slide, and belts flash with triomphe hardware like commas in a sentence. Pauses, not periods. Even the strict white shirt becomes an event when it extends into a train or when a bib, almost clerical, peeks from beneath a blazer. It's a game of reveal and conceal where modesty and provocation share a zipper. Casting and styling underline the thesis. Sunglasses that read like punctuation, not disguise. Flat sandals and sleek loafers lowering the center of gravity. Bags that are structured but not severe. Top handles with soft bellies. Satchels that swing rather than pose. Occasionally a motorcycle helmet appears in hand, a modern talisman for speed, risk, transit. Celine's woman is on the move, not performing movement. Psychologically, the collection charts a very particular emotion, composure that has decided to be kind. We've lived through seasons where fashion equated meaning with cynicism or spectacle. Ryder suggests that focus can be radical. Precision can be sensual. He lets the clothes hold two truths at once. Armor and invitation. A jacket shoulders the day, a scarf suggests the whisper that meets you at night. That's why the pieces feel intimate without being fragile. You also hear the Maison's past in this new music. Celine Vipiana's founding pragmatism, city first, life proof, beats in the practical proportions and the clarity of use. The intelligent sensuality that many associate with the brand's cerebral years returns in the way garments drape from a lived-in body rather than a mannequin idea. And the sharp tailoring language that recently defined Celine doesn't disappear. It's softened around the edges, like a beloved suit let out just enough to inhale. The collection's pacing tells a story from morning to after dark without the old script of day to night. Instead, it operates on mood shift. A crisp navy coat with a satin shawl reads like the perfect first appointment. Hours later, a violet sequin swing halts the frame, not because it screams, but because the cut is pure and the sparkle sits on discipline. Black and white return repeatedly as if to say, these are our coordinates. Feel free to roam. Look closer and there's a quiet subversion of proportion politics. Minis exist, but they're buoyant, not brittle. Trousers widen to catch the stride, tops crop just enough to express a ribcage without reducing it to trend. Even the occasional concho-style belt or Western hint is absorbed into a Paris sentence, not a costume. The collection keeps asking, how do we hold power without clenching? How do we do femininity without the swivel of apology? The answer is in the cut. What does this mean for Celine now? It reads as a recalibration from pose to presence. Rider turns down the volume on posturing and turns up the fidelity of form. That shift is neither timid nor nostalgic, it's strategic. When a house has strong bones, the bravest thing you can do is let the skeleton show and then teach it to dance. Here, the dance is confident, measured, and unmistakably Parisian. For those tracking the brand's evolution, the change is not a rupture but a retuning. We move from laser-etched attitude to a broadened bandwidth. More drape, more air, more color punctuations, and a wardrobe that assumes a life outside the photo. The clothes will read beautifully in images, but they're built to be read by time. Creases, commutes, dinners, trips, unspooling days. That's luxury with longevity. And that is why this collection sits with you after the scroll. It doesn't beg for your attention, it earns your trust. The seams whisper, the volumes democratize elegance, and the styling gives permission to exhale. You leave wanting the life these clothes assume you already have. Busy, curious, unbothered, precise. If this kind of slow, intelligent beauty is your oxygen, you're in the right place. Follow GTJ Mag on Instagram for the details and deep dives, and tell me in the comments, which part of Rider's new cadence hit your ear? The scarf as pattern, the buoyant volumes, or that serene, steel-spined tailoring? Celine Spring 2026 doesn't just step forward, it walks with you. And sometimes, that's the bravest fashion move of all. Let's stay a little longer in this light, the kind that flattens nothing and forgives nothing, and talk about what really makes this Celine hum. You can hear the clothes before you see them. Not the slap of gimmicks, but the hush of good engineering. Silk skimming over silk, leather breathing, buttons landing with a soft click. Sound is a tell of quality. There's no plastic rattle here. When a skirt balloons, it exhales rather than squeaks. That's cut and interlining working in concert, the kind of quiet luxury you only notice when it's missing. Rider also writes in ergonomics. Watch how every pocket lands exactly where a hand searches without thinking. Belts sit a hair lower than strict waist to lengthen the torso. Lapels are scaled to frame the face, not swallow it. Even the knits, close through the neck, generous through the body, carry that I have things to do pragmatism. It's the difference between clothes you admire and clothes you keep reaching for. There's a sly gender conversation happening too. Nothing is coded, it's borrowed. Double-breasted navy with banker pockets meets slouched, almost dancerly trousers. A sequin swing that could have gone party trick instead reads architect at 9, dinner at 9:30. Micro lengths? Yes. But buoyed by structure, not nerves. The result, power articulated through calm rather than hardness. Color is treated like breathwork. The baseline is oxygen, black, navy, ivory, camel. Then you get pulses, lemon, poppy, ultramarine, a shock of amethyst. They arrive as accents that reoxygenate the eye and then step back. This is how you make a wardrobe that lasts. You tune the spectrum, you don't blow the speakers. Accessories deepen the thesis instead of decorating it. Sunglasses operate like commas, pausing the gaze. Bags are architectural but not armored. Bellied top handles and tidy satchels that swing as you walk. Footwear keeps the body grounded. Sandals, loafers, slim boots. Low altitude, high intention. Everything whispers mobility. Craft is where the romance lives. Those scarf manipulations aren't tricks, they're pattern mastery, bias cut turned into structure, corners becoming points of articulation. Leatherwork is petal precise, appliques laid like topography. Even the sequins are set to move as a surface, not a noise. You read hours in these edges, which is why the clothes register as generous rather than flashy. Context matters. Showing outdoors under a corridor of trees gives the collection a natural metric. Do these pieces hold up against daylight, wind, the randomness of real life? They do. The silhouettes take on air without losing line. Hems negotiate the pavement. Nothing looks stranded outside a studio. That's a house speaking to the city that built it. And yes, this is a tonal shift for Celine. The attitude remains metropolitan and sharp, but the stance has eased. Less pose, more presence. Where recent years often telegraphed a cinematic still, Ryder films the in-between, the walk to the meeting, the late exit, the off-guard moment. It reads contemporary because modern life is montage, not tableau. Why it matters now? Fashion's pendulum is swinging from spectacle back to substance, from irony to intention. This collection doesn't reject attention, it refines it. It tells you the luxury in shouting, it's in the way a sleeve turns, the distance between two buttons, the air trapped in a skirt that lets you take a longer stride. It's the kind of design that raises your heart rate a beat and then helps it settle. If you're thinking about what enters a closet and stays, take note of the modular language here. Scarf logic that can be tied or tailored, tailoring cut to welcome layers, color that plugs into a bass signal. It's a system, not a stunt. Systems build loyalty. And because GTWJ is about receipts as much as romance, the through lines are visible. House pragmatism reasserted through real-world casting and movement. Parisian tailoring recast with softness rather than slack. Silk scarf intelligence promoted from accessory to architecture. That's lineage edited, not cosplay, not rupture. If this spoke to you the way it did to us, you're our people. Come argue, swoon and dissect with us at GTWJ Mag on Instagram. Close-ups of the scarf cuts, the leather petal work, the pocket placements are waiting there. Tell me what stayed with you after the scroll. The aerodynamics of those skirts, the scarf as pattern revolution, or that serene steel-spined navy that felt like a full sentence. Celine Spring 2026 doesn't chase the moment, it calibrates it. And that's the kind of beauty that keeps paying you back. Scene after scene, season